Lesson 9.6, 9.7, and 9.8 are all going to fall on the same pages in your notes packet. We're going to start on page number 11 in your packet, and we're going to go ahead and just do kind of some preliminary work that's going to get us ready to figure out volume and surface area of any right prisms. So we've been focusing primarily on right prisms in this chapter, just without saying so. Right prisms is what allows us to have the two congruent parallel bases and then to have them all be connected together by rectangles. So because of that, we call them right prisms because the rectangles all have right angles. We can actually have slanted prisms, and that follows the same exact rules and patterns that we're going to see here in this lesson and the next upcoming ones. The only difference is that our height is going to be a little bit of a different scenario. So for our purposes, we work with just what are called right prisms. And we're going to go through and prep today to learn about volume and surface area of these and how we find them. So what we're going to be doing in our prisms that we look at today is we are going to be identifying the base. We are going to find the area of the base, and then we're also going to find the perimeter of the base. And then in our next lesson, we're going to calculate area, and then in the lesson after that, we're actually going to calculate the surface area of these things. So for example, number 1, I'm going to ask you to get a highlighter or colored pencil or crayon or marker or something along those lines for this lesson. So if you need to pause the video and go grab that, please do that right now. So what we're going to do here in example number 1 is we're going to first identify the fact that this is a triangular prism. Because it's a triangular prism, our base is a triangle. So I'm going to ask you to take that crayon, colored pencil, marker, whatever it is that you got, and we're going to actually outline the base with that crayon. The base then has an area, and it also has a perimeter. So we're going to calculate both of those things today. So for our area, because our base is a triangle, we're going to go back to our two-dimensional formulas, and we're going to calculate the area of just that triangle. So using the area formula, area equals 1/2 times base times height, I'm going to go ahead and plug in my values here. So 1/2, the base is 12, the height is 9. So I'm going to do 1/2 times 12 times 9, which is going to give me 54. In our previous unit, we did require you to put units on this, but because we are going to be using this area later on and we're going to incorporate it into another formula, I'm going to let you just go with just saying the area is 54. We do know that it is square inches. We just don't have to take the time to actually write that here. So that's our first piece. The second piece that I'm going to do for today is to have you calculate the perimeter. So when I look at the perimeter of this object, I have a triangle, so I'm going to have 3 sides. So I'm going to add up those 3 sides. So I have 15, I have 12, and I have 9. And when I add 15 plus 12 plus 9, I get a perimeter of 36. Again, we would say the perimeter is 36 inches, but I'm not going to have you actually write that label for today's lesson. So those are the 2 pieces that we're going to find for today, and that's it for lesson 9.6. In example number 2, we have a cylinder. Our bases here are going to be our circles, and you'll notice that on this one, there's a dimension on the top, so that's the circle that I'm going to focus on. Again, just like we did in example number 1, we're going to find the area of this one, and we're also going to go ahead and find the perimeter of that circle. Area formula for a circle is pi r squared. Our radius goes from the center to the outside, which I note is actually noted on our picture here. So we're going to have area is equal to, we're going to use 3.14 because we want to go ahead and get a decimal answer, times 10 squared because our radius is 10. So if we do 3.14 times 10 squared, we get 314. Perimeter on a circle is actually called circumference. I'm just going to put a capital C here. We're going to use P in our formula because it's going to make a little bit more sense when we actually go and calculate surface area. But we need to note that on a circle, the perimeter is actually called the circumference. For the circumference, our formula is 2 times pi times r. So we're going to plug in 2 times 3.14 times 10. So 2 times 3.14 times 10 is going to give us a perimeter of 62.8. So that's going to be our first 2 examples that we have here. This is all we're doing today to get us prepped to talk about volume and surface area of cylinders. So on page number 12, we have examples 3 and 4. So for example number 3, I'm going to go ahead and highlight the outside which I didn't pick my highlighter. Here we go. So we're going to highlight the outside of the base here. And it looks like this one is a parallelogram base. So we have a parallelogram prism. So our area for a parallelogram is just going to be base times height. So we have our area is 16 times 12. And that area is going to give me 192 then for the area. And again, like we saw in the other lesson, I do need to add into this one because we are missing some information here. I do need you to add in that this side is going to be called 7 inches right here. And for a parallelogram, it has the same feature as a rectangle in that the opposite sides are equal to each other. So when we go to find our perimeter, we're going to have 7, 16, a 7, and another 16. Since the top and bottom are both going to be 16, and the left and right sides are both going to be 7 inches. So adding those all together, I end up with 46 for my perimeter then. So that's all we're going to do on that one. In example number 4, I do have a trapezoidal prism. So my base is going to be this trapezoid here. And I do have all my labels around the outside. So I'm going to first find my area. Area formula for a trapezoid is 1/2 times the height. And then that is multiplied by the sum of the bases. So 1/2, the height is 4, and the bases are 5 plus 9. So that area is going to give me 2 times 14, which will be 28. Again, our area would be centimeters squared, but we don't need to put those labels. For my perimeter, the trapezoid has 4 sides, so I'm going to add 8 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9. And that's going to give me a perimeter of 29. So those are my 4 examples for today, and that's exactly where the notes end for today. It's a super easy lesson, but that's going to set us up to be able to go back and actually find volume and surface area over the next couple of days and to practice with that topic then.